I intend to talk to you about a question that I get all the time from individuals, and that question is, what is the process by which I obtain custody of my child? And in Pennsylvania, there's two ways in which you start the process to obtain custody of your child. If there's already not a custody order in place, the first step in the process is to file a custody complaint in the county where the child has resided for at least 6 months. If there is a custody order in place and the parties wish to modify it, you would file a petition to modify custody in the county that already entered the custody order. And you can do this with an attorney or without an attorney. In a lot of counties, they offer free forms for the public to use to file for custody where you may not need a lawyer. I don't necessarily endorse that method, but there are some factors that might come into play. And if you can't afford an attorney, certainly that's a factor that might lean you into filing for custody on your own. But once you filed for custody, what happens typically is the matter is scheduled for a conciliation conference. And you're probably wondering, what is a conciliation conference? A conciliation conference is pretty much where the parties and their attorneys sit down with the conciliator to attempt to resolve the custody dispute. And if they can reach an agreement with respect to the custody of the child, then the process pretty much ends at that point, and the court will adopt the custody order that the parties agreed to. However, there are instances when the parties do not agree and they can't come to an agreement. And if you can't come to an agreement at the conciliation conference, meaning both parties agree to all terms, all parties must agree. Otherwise, you go to a custody hearing where a judge then decides what goes on. So the second step is, if you can't resolve it at the conciliation conference, the matter usually gets scheduled for a custody hearing before a judge, where a judge would consider all the factors and making a determination under the Custody Act for how custody of the child should be awarded. And basically, the court awards two types of custody in Pennsylvania. There's legal custody and physical custody. So every custody order has legal and physical custody is addressed. And you're probably wondering, what is the distinction between legal and physical custody? Legal custody has to do with who gets to make major decisions on behalf of the child, such as medical decisions, where the child goes to school, religious upbringing. And there's only two types of legal custody: sole legal custody, where one parent makes all the decisions or one party makes all the decisions alone, or shared legal custody, where both parties work together in terms of making major decisions on behalf of the child. From my experience, most judges award shared legal custody between the parties. And then there's physical custody, and there's various different types of physical custody in Pennsylvania. There's sole physical custody. I believe that's pretty self-explanatory. That's where one party has the child pretty much all the time. There's primary physical custody, where one party has the child a majority of the time. And then there's shared physical custody, often referred to as joint physical custody, and that's where the child or children spends about equal amount of time with both parents. Courts like to do that if parties live in close proximity and it's feasible to do and the parents get along and it's in the children's best interest. Courts like to do that if it's possible. And then there's partial physical custody. Partial physical custody means one party has the child for less than a majority of the time. That could be 1 weekend every other month. It could mean 3 days out of the week. It just means that one party has the child less than half of the time. And it can also mean supervised visitation, where the court decides that, or the parties agree that a third party will supervise one parent's custody with the child, meaning the child can't be left alone with that parent. And that's pretty much the procedure in Pennsylvania, how you get to a custody order. If you have any questions or you need any legal assistance, my name is Roy Galloway. I'd be more than happy to assist you. My office telephone number is 717-737-3300. Thank you.